Yo, what's going on, guys? It's G Miners here. A few weeks ago, I made a video going over every damage resistance source currently in Destiny, or at least most of them that are currently useful, and I asked at the end of that video if you guys wanted to see how high we could get multiple sources to stack, and you said yes. So in this video, I tested 10 different combinations of varying resistances, and the final one I tested ended up being absolutely insane at over 80% damage resistance. Most of these tests were kind of mid, so I'm only going over the top options. And if you guys do like these videos, dropping a like and sub helps me out a ton and makes the videos do better. Plus, it's completely free. The main sources I was testing here were as follows. First was Renewal Grasps with the Whisper of Chains Fragment, which by itself, this combo comes in at 54.9%. Up next was the Stag, which gives 25% damage reduction while in Rifts. Third is Well of Tenacity. Bungie claimed this was at 50%, but on its own, it's actually 40.5%. Fourth is Omni-Oculus, which does give the wearer a 50% resistance to damage. For their teammates, it shows a different resist value, but I'm not sure if this still gives 50% or if it's something else. And then lastly, I used Warmind's Protection, which is another 50% resistance source. Now, on top of these sources, I did also use 2 damage reduction mods for some of these tests, which should apply another 40% damage resistance. For anyone interested, I am going to go over the math behind how these resistance sources stack. If you don't care, go ahead and skip to the part where I started testing. Most of the time, when something provides a certain number of resist stacks, each stack correlates to 12.5% damage resistance. Omni-Oculus provides ×4 resist, which comes out to 50%. But if we end up combining this with something like Stag, which is ×2 resist, they don't sum up to 75%. That would be extremely OP, so instead they stack linearly. The equation that controls this is up on screen now. Basically, with multiple sources, the total damage we take is constantly reduced, but never summed to 0. With Omni applied, we would only take 50% of the damage dealt to us because we have 50% resistance. If we add in Stag, we would reduce the 50% of damage we take by another 25%. So in total, we would take 37.5% damage, not 25%. Hopefully this makes sense. I wanted to explain this so that you guys could understand how these are supposed to stack, because in a lot of these tests, things still don't stack correctly. When testing as a baseline, this is the amount of damage I take from a regular Sniper Vandal, which I use to test. This is 82 pixels of damage. The first major combination that proved useful was Renewal Grasps, the Whisper of Chains Fragment, a Stag Rift, and then Well of Tenacity. Obviously, you will need 2 players to do this, but it isn't too hard to pull off. If everything were to correctly get combined, this should give a resist value of around 79.9%, which is pretty much just 80%, but after looking at the amount of damage we actually took, it was around 33 pixels. This comes to 59.7% damage resistance, which is by far the highest resistance I've seen in game yet, but not quite where I would expect this combo to be. After this, I tested out Renewal Grasps, Whisper of Chains, the Omni-Oculus, and then Well of Tenacity. The only real change here was swapping Stag for a teammate on Omni. I wasn't really sure where this combo would end up because of how Omni works, but we ended up taking only 16 pixels of damage. Compared to the original of 82 pixels, this is an 80.4% damage resistance. Once again, this combo is a new high compared to anything I have seen before, but we still have other options like Warmind's Protection, which can still be applied. The last set of testing I did was with myself on Omni-Oculus, a teammate running a Stag Rift, and then Warmind's Protection. I didn't have enough people to add in Renewal Grasp when testing, and adding in Well of Tenacity on top of everything else in this combo was just not super practical, because after grabbing the Elemental Well, it only gave around 7 seconds to set everything up. With this combo, I took 23 pixels of damage, which comes out to a 72% reduction. But I ran this one final time with 2 arc damage resistance mods on, which reduced the damage down to 14 pixels. This final test came to an 83% reduction in damage from the original shot. It was by far the highest damage resistance combo in total, and I still think it could be beaten with more things added in. The previous test, which was at 80.4%, was also done without chest resistance mods on, so that combo could get even higher. At the end of the day, I think the two easiest things to run are going to be a Stag Rift and Warmind's Protection on top of using your typical resistance mods. If these three things stack properly, they should be able to give you around 77.5% damage resistance in total, which is extremely close to the 83. I think the big issue I found when testing was that a lot of these sources added together don't seem to correctly combine, so there is a lot of loss in terms of the resistance we get when using multiple different sources. I think Stag Rifts, Warmind Cells, and Resist Armor mods are completely practical for a full team to run in raids, and even if you aren't on Warlock, you can get all of these benefits. If you guys do have any other combos you think I should try, let me know in the comments below. I also have started streaming a lot more over on my Twitch channel, so if you want to check that out, a link will be in the description below. Anyways, that's all for this video, guys. As always, have a good one. Peace.